Hello and welcome to today's English lesson. My name is Stuart. In today's lesson, we're looking at words that we use in English to talk about the news. Let's go to the intro. Now, as I said, today's lesson is talking about this topic here, which is the news or news in English. And all of these words here will come in handy when you want to talk about this topic. So for example, if you're in an exam or you're preparing for some type of test, or you just want to talk about this topic with your friends in English, these words will come in handy. Now there's a lot of different expressions here. We're going to start with some of the simple ones. Okay, we're going to talk about the verbs that we use in English when we use this topic here. So, for example, we can read the news, we can watch the news, we can listen to the news, we can hear the news, or we can get the news, okay? Where do you get the news from, or where do you get your news from? Do you read a newspaper? Do you watch television? Do you get your news online, okay? We can also use these verbs here when we talk about the news as well. So for example, you can make the news. You can make the news. If you are in the news, if you do something and you are in the news, you make the news, or you can make news, okay, without the article. You can report the news. People report the news. People cover the news. We follow the news, and the companies broadcast the news, okay? Broadcast the news. So make, report, cover, follow, and broadcast. Now, report and cover, normally, these are the people here that are paid to do this job. So, for example, a journalist is paid to cover or report the news. Now, a short way of saying journalist is journo, okay? You can call a journalist a journo. We also have a correspondent. A correspondent normally is somebody who specializes in a particular field. So it could be a sports correspondent, a cricket correspondent maybe, a foreign correspondent, somebody who is in another country. So you could see the Canadian correspondent, you could see the UK correspondent, the US correspondent, somebody who is in that particular place to talk about the news from that country. We also have this word here, which is columnist. The columnist is somebody who writes a column in a newspaper every day or every week or perhaps every month. A columnist. A reporter, somebody who reports the news. A news hound, somebody who chases news stories very eagerly, somebody who goes after the news. A journalist who goes after the news is a news hound. A negative word for a journalist is this one here, which is hack. A hack, okay? That's a bad journalist or somebody who doesn't have a very good reputation for telling the truth, maybe. And this other word here, which is paparazzi. Paparazzi, as we know, paparazzi, or for short, a pap, somebody who takes photographs of famous people, normally in situations that they're not expecting to have their photo taken. They get papped by the paparazzi. These are examples of gutter press or muck raking, where you try to get negative information about somebody, sometimes somebody famous, okay? So you go muck raking, you try to get bad or negative information in order to put that in the newspaper or the magazine, okay? The paparazzi, the gutter press, or the muck raking. Now, another word that we can use when we talk about the news is the press. We can talk about the press, okay? We can talk about a news agency, For example, Reuters or Associated Press are news agencies. They have journalists all around the world getting stories, and then they sell those stories to news outlets. Okay, news outlets are where we get the news. A newspaper, a television station, a radio station is a news outlet a lot of the time. Okay. Now, when we talk about the news, remember that it is singular. Even though there's an S on the end, it is singular. So we say the news is. And if you want to talk about a specific part of the news, something that you read in the paper, we have to use an item of news or a piece of news or a news item. Okay. We can't say a news. I saw a news on the television. I saw a news in the paper. We have to say a piece of news or an item of news. Now, news normally deals with current affairs or current events, things that are happening in the world at the moment, current affairs or current events. And news can be divided into print news, online news, so print news in the newspapers, online news on the internet, and broadcast news, which is television, radio. And also a popular topic nowadays is fake news. You've probably heard about this topic here, fake news. Donald Trump, the president of the USA, likes to use this word here, fake news, all the time. And fake news, of course, is something that is manipulated or perhaps not necessarily the truth, therefore fake. Now, for news to be in the paper, on radio, it has to be newsworthy. It has to be worthy of news, meaning that it has to be a good story, something that will interest people, okay? A newsworthy story can hit the headlines, meaning that it gets onto the front page of the paper or the main part of the news on television or radio. If a story is new, it can be hot off the press, and also something can be front page news. Unfortunately, a lot of the time, terrorist attacks are front page news in a lot of countries in Europe, Australia, the USA, front page news. So things that are on the front page or the most important parts of the news. So all of these words we can use in English when we want to talk about the news. Now, thank you very much for watching the lesson. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the section below. Share the video on social media, please. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. I'll see you in the next English video lesson. Have a good day. Bye.